So Republicans want to defund NPR. First of all, do we have any business using tax dollars to fund public television or public radio? It's a tough one, isn't it?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think you should fund like information that's nonpartisan, but unfortunately the truth looks very democratic.
Right. NPR, I think we would argue, is nonpartisan. It's just that the truth right now is a great way to put it. The truth looks like it comes from the left. Mm-hmm. So NPR, before, my father ran NPR from 1977 to 1982, and one of their former employees, I guess their first employee, a guy named Jack Mitchell, believes that my father did not leave NPR in perfect financial condition because he made a serious effort to stop the reliance on public funding. And then after he left, I think in 82 or 83, this guy Jack Mitchell says that the whole mentality of the place had shifted from this sort of do alternative stories that nobody else did to doing what everybody else did, but doing it better, which I think they have achieved. So that has changed. Does that mean if they're just doing what ABC News does and CBS News, Washington Post, New York Times, that they shouldn't get public funding just because they do it so damn well?
How much public funding do they get? What's the percentage of their budget?
The percentage is about 5% overall, but in some it can go up to 30% locally, and in some small communities, it can be 30 to 50% of their funding.
I say, working around the country on the wind stuff for the last couple of years, I got to listen to a lot of different NPR stations. I think NPR is a lot better in the small parts of the country.
Right.
And if they need it,
no question, they need the. You're in a small Colorado town, a small Kansas town, parts of California. You raising that money on your own?
No, you can't. It's not
of course
possible.
Not. Right. So they use a lot of the funding. So when we see those numbers that hey, it's only 5%, that's misleading. Mm-hmm. So anyway, my dad was on the media, their sort of weekly show about the press with Brooke Gladstone, and. So he's talking to Brooke Gladstone. She does an interview with him, and he starts by saying, she's like what NPR's president from 77 to 83, and he talks about decoupling public television from public radio, leave NPR on its own. He thinks NPR can sustain itself on its own. Public TV certainly needs the public funding, and he tried to reduce the NPR share of the budget. So that's his point. But then she comes back to end her piece about sort of NPR, this 12-minute piece that these guys do. And my dad gives an all-time great response, and NPR remarkably did not edit this. God bless them for it.
Confident news organization, not according to Frank Mankiewicz.
I don't think that this event should have been responsible for her firing. I think she was a very competent executive and was taking NPR in the right direction.
Jon Stewart called NPR's board a bunch of pussies.
A bunch of what?
Pussies.
Cookies?
Pussies.
Oh, pussies. Yeah, that may be true.
That is vintage my father. Every conversation my brother and I have with him, I presume everybody has with him. You say one thing, he doesn't understand. Cookies. He says the wrong thing, and you yell the thing you meant. It's just not usually pussies, pussies, cock, cock, lock, cock, cock. And apparently NPR would have left that on too. So anyway, God bless my father for calling the board at NPR pussies.
God bless him.
Yeah.